I'm Leo Walder for Kit Guru. This gaming laptop is MSI GT62VR and it's currently performing what I regard as a party trick, which is to run Metro Last Light Redux benchmark at 4K. That's quite good going for a laptop, and it can do it because it has GTX 1070 graphics backed up by a Core i7 and a bunch of other hardware, which is high-end kit to say the least. The model name in full, MSI GT62VR 6RE Dominator Pro 4K, quite a mouthful. So the VR part is significant. MSI and other manufacturers are pushing VR because GTX 10 series graphics, which are the same as the desktop graphics, can indeed run your VR headset. Your HTC Vive or your Oculus Rift can plug directly into this without any trouble whatsoever. The Dominator Pro 4K part, 4K display. It's a 15.6 inch display and full 4K. And I'm in two minds about this. On a 15.6 you don't really need that many pixels, but if you're playing a game where the graphics can drive it along nicely, it looks absolutely great, as indeed does Metro Last Light Redux. On the other hand, if you're playing a more modern game such as Deus Ex, you're not going to do it at 4K on high image quality. That's just not going to happen. You're either going to have to pull the quality right back or more likely knock back the resolution and be a bit more cautious about settings. So, on the other hand, it looks very good. So going around the hardware briefly, so we've got GTX 1070 graphics, which, as you know, is basically the same as desktop graphics, except that nVidia's put more shaders at a slightly lower clock speed in the mobile chip, but it's the same as desktop essentially. Core i7, which runs at 3.6 gigahertz, obviously quad-core hyperthreading, and then we've got 32 gig DDR4 running at 2133 megahertz, so loads of fast memory, a 512 gig Toshiba SSD, that's a NVMe M.2, that's an OEM version of the OCZ RD400 that we've seen and liked a great deal. We've seen that Toshiba a few times now, and then there's a hard drive to give you more storage. The hardware is good. The display is obviously a feature. There's a bit of a curiosity, which is that MSI describes it as IPS-Level. It so happens this LG panel in this laptop is IPS. But the fact they're describing it as IPS-Level seems to us they're giving themselves some wriggle room. Perhaps later batches of this laptop might come with a panel that's not IPS, but MSI is saying it will be as good as IPS. It might be some other technology, but you'll have the wide viewing angle, the deep blacks, the proper RGB gamut of colours, and so on and so forth, in which case, fair enough. All I can say is this IPS panel is good. No two ways about it. As to whether you want it to be 4K, slightly different question. Going around the hardware, the chassis is a shade under 40mm in thickness. It is 39.8mm. The weight is a shade under 3 kilos, 2.94 kilos. Call it 3 kilos and 40mm between friends. This is significant because it's got a lot of hardware and they're getting rather hot. Both the processor and the GPU reach about 80 degrees Celsius under load, so that the heat has to go somewhere, and the chassis is relatively big, relatively chunky, and therefore there is space to get rid of the heat. This is very wise. Ports and connectors, as you can see in the photos, are a bit of an oddball. We've got 3 USB 3 on this side, so plugging in your headset is going to be relatively easy, but nonetheless, for other things, I mean, if you plug in a really chunky flash drive, one of those ports like to be overshadowed, in my opinion. We've got a card reader there. On this side, we've got one USB 2 and a bunch of headset jacks. The USB 2 is in glorious isolation. Frankly, it looks like that side of the chassis wanted to have an optical drive at some point, and now it's got one USB 2. I'm not saying I want an optical drive, it's just having a port over there is really peculiar. On the rear, we've got 2 exhaust vents that are currently churning away because this thing's kicking out a certain amount of heat, although it's not massively noisy, even though I'm right behind it. There's an Ethernet port, USB Type-C, HDMI mini display port. So basically, if you're using the USB Type-C to power your graphics, that's fine, an external display, then that's fine. If on the other hand you want to plug in a mobile phone to your USB Type-C, that's not a great location. Could be done better. The partners that MSI has used are the usual bunch of good people. So we've got Nahimic doing audio, we've got SteelSeries doing the keyboard, there's Killer doing networking. It's all good stuff. The lighting here, the RGB, is controlled by MSI's Dragon Center software, which we've seen a number of times now, and it all looks great. It so happens I've set the keyboard so it's on a sort of a red breathing pattern, which looks quite funky. but frankly, were I typing on the thing, I'd want it on a really boring either white or pale yellow type of backlight so I could see what the heck I was doing. This funky effect is nice. You can have the thing set to an audio mode where it's giving you lots of visual stuff, but if you actually want to type on the thing, not so good. In terms of, I mean, a bit distracting. The mouse buttons are the one feature of the laptop I actually don't like. They're very clicky, like pushing your thumb on the bottom of a tin can, pop, 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 pop. Didn't like them much. They work perfectly well, I just don't like the noise and the feel. But otherwise, the hardware is all to the good. No weaknesses other than those mouse buttons. Question mark over the 4K panel, which is really a matter of personal taste. And frankly, I haven't got a problem with it in terms of games. It's when you get into Windows Desktop and doing things at 4K, even though you have to scale your displays, you can see anything, open a window or something such, and suddenly, boom, it's teeny, and you have to drag it bigger, and it's just a bit awkward. Not the end of the world, just a bit awkward. Battery life is not great. It was 1 hour 40 minutes, which you can double in the real world. It's looping PC Mark 8, so just over 3 hours of real life. Obviously not gaming, so not great, not terrible, but you're not going to use this laptop on the move. The thing about nVidia 10 series graphics is that the control software caps the frame rate to make sure that the battery doesn't get absolutely mullered. Realistically, you are not going to use this laptop to game on the move. The nVidia control software for the 10 series graphics caps the frame rate when you're on battery, typically 30 FPS. You can go up to 60 if you want, or you can disable it, but it's a trade-off. If you don't cap the frame rate, the battery life is killed. If you do cap the frame rate, the gaming experience is good, but not great. This is just a fact of life. Basically, if you want to use this laptop for gaming, find yourself a PowerPoint. Overall, it's a good piece of hardware. It costs just under £2,300 in the UK, which is a lot of money, but you get a lot of hardware, so cannot complain about the price. One thing I would say is, when I walk away from this laptop before I return to it and think, what's the outstanding feature of this laptop? I have to actually stop and think. There's a whole bunch of good components, no two ways about it. It's put together well. It has the usual MSI gaming features. I like it. It does a really good job of playing games. It's just not particularly memorable. And when you're paying over £2,000 for a laptop, I think I want more than just a list of parts. I want something that makes you go, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this one again. This is just kind of good, but it's not exceptional. It doesn't sort of inflame my passion, but such is life. So if you like this video, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Leave us a comment. Head to Facebook and leave us a comment there. If you want more videos from Kit Guru, click to subscribe. I'm Leo Woodard for Kit Guru. This is the MSI GT62VR.